Since day before yesterday, all of you are doing Japa here, trying to control the mind and focus it on the mantra which you have been given by your Guru. And as you all know, while we try to meditate or do japa, our mind, it wanders. And when mind wanders, we wander with it, and it is difficult for us to concentrate on the mantra. All of us have this problem. Most of us have this problem. And mostly this is the one question which is asked over and again in almost every spiritual retreat, almost every Japa Yajna program, if there is a session of question and answers, and in almost every interview or encounter with a monk or even a brahmachari or even with a senior devotee. How to control the mind. So once this was asked to a younger monk and he said, "Don't worry, when I will know, I will tell you. I will let you know. I am in the process to find out." Humor apart, this is a big question. But most of us, we read Upanishads, the Gita, attend so many discourses, but we seem to be unaware of the secret of controlling the mind. Most of you can recite more shlokas than me, I guess. But how to actually do it? That is a big question. See, to understand how to control the mind, it would help us to know what puts our mind out of control in the first place. What is it that takes our mind away from us? If we know that, then we can automatically remove that cause and then we can control the mind. Just like a physician, a medical practitioner tries to find out what is the ailment and then gives appropriate medicine. That is called diagnosis. So if the diagnosis is proper, in medical terminology, there is another word for treatment called prognosis. If the diagnosis is proper, then the prognosis will also be proper. And you will be cured of your ailment earlier and in much better way. So here the question should be, what is it that makes our mind wander? Why does our mind wander? What propels it? So yesterday also we saw that it is desire which makes our mind wander. And why does this desire come? Where from this desire came? It is because of our own doing, our own karma, our own actions in past, in this life, or in the previous lifetimes, previous births, that we have got this desire. Suppose we have eaten some food and then we have a desire, we have an impression of that food, and every time we want to eat again and again that food. Or we have used some language, we have an impression of that language, and so on and so forth. One objection to this theory, which is the theory of Vedanta, karma theory, is that how is it that what I have done I don't remember? See, I have done. If I have done something in the previous birth, I should remember. That is the logic given, which is very illogical. Why? Whenever somebody asks this, I have one pet question. I like that question very much. Because it is connected with food. That is why all of us like food, no? So the question is, I immediately ask, on 10th July 1980, what was the breakfast? Anybody can answer here? So, but definitely people who were born and alive on 10th July 1980, most of you were, did take some breakfast. Or some might have skipped also, but even that you don't know. So you don't know what you did in this very lifetime. So forget about previous lifetimes. There are previous lifetimes. We had several lifetimes, but we don't remember them. Now, here, while talking about the qualities of a leader, Swami Vivekananda says that a person should lead like a baby. In a family, a baby moves around carelessly, without any worry, worrylessly. And everybody in the family moves behind that baby. Oh, the baby has not taken food, the baby is crying, the baby has done this, that baby has done that, etc. So Swamiji says a leader should be like that, egoless, but should be having those qualities which automatically make people follow the leader. Here in the context of getting rid of desire, how is it relevant? It is relevant in the sense that one attitude in spiritual life can help us not only to reduce our suffering to a great extent, but also to make our spiritual practices effortless. What is that quality? Sharanagati. Sharanagati. Surrender. Surrendering ourselves to the higher principle. You can call it God, you can call it Guru, you can call it Brahman, you can call whatever you want. A higher principle of life, you surrender yourself to that higher principle. Sharanagati. Now there are so many religious traditions, faith traditions in India and across the world. And we find that in every spiritual tradition, this quality is emphasized. Even if you take the case of Judeo-Abrahamic religions like Christianity, Judaism and Islam, surrender to God, faith in God is emphasized even there. So no religion or faith system is there in the world which does not emphasize Sharanagati. Now, but we have serious problem with Sharanagati. What is the problem? You see, whenever we have some problem, whenever we did some mistake, we want to surrender to God. Our surrender, our idea of surrender is much like the idea of surrender according to Indian Penal Code. So a person does some crime and goes to the police station and says, I surrender. Why? Because this fellow knows that he has killed somebody and that fellow's family people will come and kill him. So the safest place to go is jail. He will not be killed. Many people do that. You are aware. So surrender. So our idea of surrender is like that. When I have done some mistake, surrender. But because of our ego and because of our sense of doership, we do not want to surrender when we do something good. In that moment, it is I who have done it. I don't want to surrender that. All bad things I will surrender. Good things I have done. Sri Ramakrishna gives this beautiful example, as you know, of a person who creates a garden and he says, see how beautiful garden I have done. And then when he kills a cow, he says, no, go hatya I will not accept, because the presiding deity of hand is Indra. So Indra will take the blame or the sin of go hatya. So this is our condition. That is why when Sri Ramakrishna was approached by Girish Chandra Ghosh saying that I cannot do japa, it is difficult for me to do japa, so you please do this. Then he said even once, so he said no, even once also I cannot do, repeat the name. Then he said okay, give me power of attorney, means give me your responsibility to me. So Sri Ramakrishna told that and Girish Chandra Ghosh immediately gave it, because he was thinking, okay, good riddance, I don't have to do any japa and spiritual practice. Later on he says, when I told that I seldom realized, I did not realize that I have to give up the entire responsibility. So now I cannot think for myself. Everything Sri Ramakrishna will take care. Here is where that child's attitude is there. The child is not bothered till the child becomes conscious, until we systematically corrupt the child's brain in the name of education and civilization. Till that, child is closer to God or closer to one's own true nature. And the child is not bothered about when to eat, what to eat, where to sleep. None of these existential ideas, none of these ideas about the basic needs of life cross the mind of the child. Why? Because the child knows everything mother will take care. Mother is there, she will take care of everything. Or if mother is not there, parent, somebody is there who will take care, and I don't need to bother. So I just need to tumbling around here and there and do some baba like that, some childish prattle, and I have to just move around, and whether I take bath or whether I am in filth or whether I have made makeup and all that, nothing I have to bother. This should be the attitude of a devotee. Devotee should not bother about what is happening in one's life. But what? There is, you see, opposites look alike. Swamiji says that this nation now is steeped in tamas, in inertia. So now it has to do some activity. So the moment we say, oh, very good, I will not do any work, I will just sleep. That you are most of us Indians. I will not say you, because so many people, if they come this side, it will be difficult. So I don't want to take the risk. But most of Indians are already steeped in inertia. So that is not what is intended. What is intended is sattva. That is, you don't have desires, or you have reduced your desire to a bare minimum and still trying to reduce it completely. And then you say that everything will be taken care of by God. Not that you sit in one place and think that I want this, I want that, and then say that everything will be taken care of by God. And now here, Sri Ramakrishna, you know the illustration, I'm just pointing it out to you, of that person who used to sew clothes. And then he says some robbers came, put the loot, he says, Rame Richa. Because of the will of Rama, this happened. And so he tells that in front of the judge, and the judge says that this person cannot do anything wrong, because everything is for him the will of Rama. So like that, we have to completely depend upon Lord. In the Ashtavakra Samhita, there is a imagery, wonderful imagery. What is that? There it is told that a person who has realized God, or a person who has realized one's true self, the Atman or Brahman, that person behaves like a dry leaf. Dry leaf. How? See, the dry leaf is not connected to the tree, so it is not held anywhere. And whenever wind comes, wherever it comes, it takes, and there with the wind, the leaf moves. It has no will of oneself. What is the logic behind this? The logic is, whatever I have done in the past has produced a result. And that result I will have to experience. If it is good result, I will have to have good experience. If it is a bad result, I will have to have bad experience. So that result I will have to anyway experience. So if I do any further action with the idea of enjoyment, I want something, I want to enjoy this, with this desire, if I do anything, then it will create further bondage. So whatever I have done, I have done. I have no control over the past. So whatever I have done, but by grace of Guru, by the grace of God, by the grace of my holy company, I have in this human birth got this idea that I have to realize God. This is a very unique thing. Very few people get the idea. When Sri Ramakrishna was in that room in Dakshineshwar, There is a sentence in the gospel repeated many times, and that sentence was very much liked by Ranganathanandaji, and he used to quote it often. What is that sentence? That room was a mart of joy. The original Bengali is Anandir heart. So the room where Sri Ramakrishna used to live was a mart of joy. Here is a person who was not educated in the formal sense of the term, and who asked direct questions to the great custodians of society like Bankim Chandra, etc. And he had no ego, nothing, and he used to put people into peals of laughter. We have reminiscences of people saying that Sri Ramakrishna used to cut joke, and they would used to actually roll on the floor, unable to control the laughter. So that was a mart of joy. In this mart of joy, you have come. It is a great thing to come to Sri Ramakrishna. That Dakshineshwar room, while some people were rolling in laughter, enjoying this experience of being in a mart of joy, in that same Dakshineshwar, so many people used to come. And there is an incident which Sri Ramakrishna himself recounts. He says a person came with his friend, and then that friend came inside, but this person was sitting at the door, and he said, okay, you come afterwards, I will go and wait in the boat. So he did not wait in the room. So even after coming to the doorstep literally of Sri Ramakrishna, he could not go. So though many people get human birth, very few people have the idea that we have to go to God. And even if those people have idea, what do they go? They go to some people like that. Some person will do something, some magic kind of thing, and say this is spiritual life. They will go to that person. Somebody will keep on doing puja whole day. They will go. So somebody will say, you repeat this some mantra, abracadabra. They will go to that person. All such people, they go. Sri Ramakrishna says, finally, a person who is in the final birth has to come to me. What does it mean? In the final birth of a person, you have to understand that only God realization is the goal of human life. This you have to understand. Unless you understand this, it cannot be your final birth. And that is why Sri Ramakrishna. So later on said this. Sri Ramakrishna said this. Later on, one monk asked Holy Mother, oh, Sri Ramakrishna said that, what does it mean? So Holy Mother clarifies, it does not mean that you simply go to Sri Ramakrishna, go to some mutt and that's all, it is your final birth. No, it means that you have to accept the teaching of Sri Ramakrishna. What is his main teaching? One of the main teachings is that God realization is the goal of human life. You have to accept it. And only when you accept it, then you will understand that this world is of no consequence. Nissara. It is of no essence. Another one very oft-quoted shlok by Ranganathanji Maharaj was this verse from Narada Parivrajaka Upanishad. Sansarameva nissaram jnatva jnana didriksha. He used to, in his own inimitable way, quote this shloka, because though he had traveled all over the world, he had this small affectation of his Malayalam accent. So when he used to speak Sanskrit, that used to come out. So jnana didriksha, like that he used to say. So this, what is that? Once you understand that this world is inessential, then you get this knowledge. You thirst for knowledge. You have this desire, didriksha, of seeing or getting knowledge, jnana. So then you try to attain to this knowledge. And that is what has happened to all of us. We are so fortunate that in this very life we have understood that God realization is the ultimate goal of human life. And we have come to Sri Ramakrishna. So, whatever I have done in the past, I have no control on that. But what I am doing now, I have control. So I have to stop desiring. We have to stop having newer and newer desires. And when you do that, and then you give up, whatever will happen, you take care. Oh Sri Ramakrishna, Holy Mother or Swami Vivekananda, you take care. I will just tell your name. The moment you have this desire, the moment you have this resolution, then you will see that your japa becomes natural. That the whole day you are pervaded with the consciousness of Sri Ramakrishna. It becomes very natural. Why? Because you have given up. You have become like a dry leaf. You have become like a dry leaf. You have no problem with any kind of things. But there, what will happen is, even if good things happen, you will not be attached to that. You will not want to take credit for good things. And this Sharanagati is what we have to follow. Once we follow this, so this will be followed by both devotees and people who are into the path of knowledge, which Sri Ramakrishna says in Kali Yuga is very difficult. But even if somebody is practicing it, they can follow. What is the path of knowledge, how you can follow? Because you are submitting yourself to the effect of prarabdha karma. Whatever karma you have done in the past is taking its effect. You are resigning yourself, surrendering yourself to that karma, and you don't think of anything. You don't bother about anything. Because in the 11th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, 33rd shloka, Sri Krishna says to Arjuna that, "O Arjuna, get up and fight this war and win the kingdom and enjoys a prosperous kingdom." Why? Mayaivete nihatan purvameva. I have, through me, even Sri Krishna says, through me, these people have already been killed. So it is not that the war is going to begin and they will be killed by you. Through me. He is not saying I have killed. Through me, these people have already been killed. So they have been killed. So don't worry. Nimitta matram bhava savya sachin. Swami Ramakrishna ji had a wonderful example he used to often quote. He used to say, you see, we should be nimitta in the hands of God. We should be totally surrendering ourselves to God. How? He says, suppose you are writing with a pen. Imagine the pen says, you are writing apple and the pen says, I like orange, I will not write apple. Pen stops. Does it ever happen? It does not happen. Pen may stop because it is not working properly, but it will not say, I will write orange. You may write apple, I will write orange. Pen will do what you want it to do. Means pen has no will of its own. So Swami Ramakrishna ji says that we have to act like that pen. We have to lose our will and come, because whatever will you had, as I told you yesterday, kartrutva, bhoktrutva, etc., that has created all this confusion. It is because of the will we have got the confusion. So we have to now will to have no will. We have to resolve to go beyond all resolves. So that is the resolution we have to take, that no, I will be just surrendering to you. Towards the end of the 18th chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, you see, why is it? It is interesting to note that Sri Krishna starts speaking in the Bhagavad Gita from the 2nd chapter. He starts with a scolding. Klaibhyam masma gama partha, etc., etc. And he says, you fight the war. That Sri Krishna, towards the end of the Bhagavad Gita, and in the last shloka, he says, what does he say? 18th chapter, 66 shloka, he says, Sarva dharman parityajya mamekam sharanam vraja. Aham tva sarva papebhyo mokshayishyami ma shuchah. Don't sorrow, don't grieve, ma shuchah. Aham tva sarva papebhyo. I will free you from all sins or from all mistakes. Mokshayishyami. I will liberate you, I will free you. See what a contrast. He starts with the idea that you have to do your swadharma. Ends with the idea that you just sarva dharman parityajya mamekam sharanam vrajaya. So things can be read funnily. One person came and said, oh, you are talking Hinduism has no conversion. Where is not conversion? Sri Krishna says, sarva dharman parityajya. Give up all religions and take shelter in me. That is not the meaning. Sarva dharman parityajya means give up all kinds of, the swadharma or all kinds of attachments, or all kinds of I have to do kamya karma. That means I have to do some ritual for attaining some fruits. I have to do some work to attain something. Give up all these ideas and sarva dharman parityajya. So commentators comment that even swadharma, the idea of swadharma comes because you think of yourself as somebody who has some sankalpa, somebody has to do something. I am the doer, I am the enjoyer. So even that you give up. So that is the height of spiritual life, where you give up everything, because that is what we have to give up, our ego. And then you just take shelter in God or take shelter in karma, in the happenings which will take place, in the flow of the results of whatever actions you have done in the past. It is very simple if you think about it, and all of you can practice, is it not? From now onwards, you will have no desire. You will become desireless. In the 3rd chapter of the Bhagavad Gita, if you see, there he says, Asha, nirashir nirmamo bhutva. So, nirashihi, that means you should not have hope. So what you should become? You should become hopeless. And not in the regular sense. You should become hopeless. And then he says, nirmamo bhutva. So you should become egoless. You should become desireless. If you become hopeless, egoless, desireless, then you will have sufferingless. You will be bondageless, bondless. You will be free. Otherwise, what is the imagery of, there are so many imageries of this world. Yesterday Maharaj was telling Davanala. It is compared to forest fire. So where I stay, Mayavati, we take care of 400 acres of forest land, ashrama people. And now and then there is forest fire and we run with all our staff to put off that fire. So forest fire can be huge and devastating. So Davanala, our sansara or the worldliness or the worldly bondage is like that. But it is also like onion. You see, you peel onion and peel onion and peel onion. It is nissara. It has got nothing. Nothing will come out of it. But what? Only tears will come out. In the process, you are shedding so many tears. So only suffering will come and there will be nothing which will come out of it. So if we understand this, what will we do? We will not peel onions ourselves. We will give it to somebody else. Or as I saw in some funny internet photograph, they are putting helmets to peel onions. Something like that you will do. What is the helmet which we will wear? Sharanagati. Complete surrender to God. Complete surrender to God. Complete surrender to our own prarabdha karma. And then we will just think of God. And that is what Prahlada did. And that is what all great saints did. And if you go to the internet, this Chinmaya mission, they have started a new Upanishad Ganga. I think many of you are aware of it. Wonderful. In that, there is one story they have taken from some old story which happened in South India, in Tamil Nadu. That is, there was one Swami who came from North India and stayed in South India. He came just wandering and he was staying in some town of South India, Tamil Nadu. And there he did not know any Tamil. He just knew one word, Paravailai. Does not matter. And there so many things happens with him and he just says Paravailai. People come to beat him, they put him in jail, they remove him from the village. He just says Paravailai. Always happy, cheerful and Paravailai. So that kind of attitude we have to develop. We have to say, no problem. It is okay. I am all right. No problem. Constantly if you think like that and if we practice like that, then at least in this world we will have no problem. Whatever problem will be left will be with us. And then by thinking of God, by praying to God, by calling on God's name, we can get rid of that suffering also. So let us all pray that we get this strength and faith in Sri Ramakrishna, that we can give up everything and hold on to the lotus feet of Sri Ramakrishna. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Hari Om Tat Sat. Shri Ramakrishna Arpanamastu.